manliness. It doesn't just have one solid definition, but it's one of those things where everybody knows it when they see it. Movies, video games, TV shows, and comics have so many examples to look to, but as long as they're strong, brave, and have their priorities straight, we consider that manly enough. So hey, I'm Nervous Nick for Screw Attack's Top 10 Manliest Characters.
Number 10.
The first guy on our list isn't just here because of his incredible muscles or shin hair, mounds and mounds of shin hair. ZANGIEF is manly because every bear he wrestles, every scrub he suplexes, is for the kids. Being a man's not about being tough 24/7. You look at this 7-foot, 400-pound Russian monster and have to respect the fact that he knows when to be gentle and when to freaking eat a guy's face. And I can assure you that nobody else on this list has flexed their muscles so hard it stopped a sword against their chest and shattered it. Well, most of them haven't anyway.
Number 9.
With the new God of War game coming out right as we're making this video, of course Kratos had to be on this list. In fact, he's the entire inspiration for this top 10. If you've even so much as seen God of War before, you get why this dude who beats up the most over-the-top enemies deserves to be here. But despite all of his insane god-killing feats, Kratos is low on the list because he spent most of his life as a crazed angry murder man. A real man controls his emotions rather than letting his emotions control him, which looks like it's the case in the latest PS4 game. We can't really count whatever happens in that game because, again, it comes out literally 2 days after this top 10, but we really love the idea of Kratos being a teacher instead of just a screaming death machine. Good on you, Kratos.
Number 8.
Part of being manly is being brave, but there's a fine line between courage and stupidity. Is it stupid or is it brave to go smashing through brick walls even though your body is made of glass? Hey, the Kool-Aid Man hasn't shattered to pieces so far, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that he's manly. Plus, the Kool-Aid Man is so generous, he willingly sacrifices part of himself to keep kids hydrated. Putting others above yourself like that is a man right there.
Number 7.
I've gotta say, my favorite character in Full Metal Alchemist was easily Alex Armstrong. I mean, where do you even begin with this guy? He looks like a buff anime Charlie Brown, minus everybody crapping on him all the time. But look at him though. Would you pull the football away from him at the last second? No, you would not. Alex Armstrong speaks exclusively through his burly mustache, greets others by flexing, and sparkles, literally sparkles, with raw masculinity. I'm pretty sure I just grew an extra chest hair from witnessing his manliness. But his sister, Olivier Armstrong, completely trashes him every time they fight, so Olivier is actually manlier. A woman on a manliest characters list? Remember, for this video, we're just defining manly as being brave, strong, or having your priorities straight. You don't need a penis to be those things.
Number 6.
Speaking of which, how about Alexandra Zaryanova, better known as Zarya? Overwatch's pink-haired beefcake grew up during the robot uprising called the Omnic Crisis, and from that, decided to get buff, and therefore, manly. Like ZANGIEF, not only is Zarya a Russian powerhouse, but also like ZANGIEF, she wrestles bears, and also like ZANGIEF, her motivation is to protect her loved ones. But what puts Zarya above Gief is that she sacrificed all fame and glory just to go home and save her village in their time of need. That's real dedication right there. Plus, she's got a scar over her eye, and only manly people have scars over their eyes. Unless they're named Yamcha.
Number 5.
Okay, let's dial things back for a second and look at a man's man. You can find all sorts of characters in the Pawnee City Parks and Recreation Department, including its beloved director. For all of Ron freaking Swanson's paranoia and love of cholesterol, he's actually one of the most accomplished people you could ever find in Pawnee, Indiana. His love of nature, talent for woodworking, and suave saxophone-playing alter ego are just the tip of the mustache. If you can believe his own words, and I choose to, he went to prom at age 12, got his first job at 9, cried for the first time at 7 after being hit by a school bus, and was named Woman of the Year.
Number 4.
Lara Croft is way more than just the female Indiana Jones. She may have that same suave debonair, but unlike other famous treasure hunters, she comes with crazy acrobatics and even more insane adventures. She dives off 250-foot cliffs. She blows up helicopters by throwing axes at them. She kills dinosaurs. And in the most recent games, she's got 10 times the perseverance of most people. Remember that time she impaled herself on some rebar and then went through an entire adventure? Oh my gosh, that was a good game. And now I want to play that whole reboot series again. Is anybody else as hyped for Shadow of the Tomb Raider as I am?
Number 3.
You want to talk about a dude with a strong sense of justice? You want a guy who brings that very justice with his fists and his smile? Then you want the legendary All Might. Pretty much nothing in My Hero Academia gets me more hyped than seeing the world's greatest superhero evaporate a monster with his fists or punch a bad guy so hard it changes the weather. All Might is one of the greatest physical threats out there, but it goes hand in hand with his overwhelming positivity. Yeah, his can-do attitude can be a little obnoxious, but it's also what motivated him to beat the shockwave-absorbing Nomu with shockwaves. God dang, can we get Arc System Works to make a My Hero Academia fighting game already? Oh, I would make All Might so fast.
Number 2.
Video games have Sega to Sanshiro, real life has Chuck Norris, anime has Kenshiro. After all civilization is wiped out by nuclear war, the man with the 7 scars made a name for himself by punching everyone and everything so hard that they explode. They just do. I don't know how that works, but they be exploding. But despite Kenshiro's absurd masculinity, he's one of, if not the earliest, hyper-masculine character to have lots of emotional moments. In fact, the height of his abilities can only be reached when Kenshiro suffers extreme tragedy. Kenshiro showed us that it's not only okay to cry every now and then, but doing so is actually better. And if you still need convincing, I just googled manly tears and Kenshiro's literally the first result.
It's number 1.
Anime has Kenshiro, comic books have Superman. To say that the Man of Steel has been inspirational is a major understatement. Everybody knows him for his incredible feats of strength, but sometimes people get a little too focused on what makes him super instead of what makes him a man. How easy would it be for Clark Kent to become the most unstoppable bad guy ever? What could anybody really do about it if he just looked at the world and said, screw him? Superman doesn't just have powers. He has the best powers, and yet he always chooses to use them for the betterment of those weaker than him. So that's like everyone. Sometimes it doesn't even take superpowers for him to be helpful. Just look at the time he talked to the suicidal woman, and I dare you not to tear up. For 80 years, Superman has represented the very best that mankind can be. And that right there is the manliest character ever. For my secret number 11, everybody knows that it's manly to have swole biceps, but do you know what's better? 4 swole biceps! The Pokemon Machamp doesn't just have double the guns to work with, it can punch 500 times a second and hit so hard that it sends its victims past the horizon. That is so manly!